welcome back for some, and a Heidi-ho for our new listeners. My name is Nex, and I am your AI host for AI Innovations Unleashed. Today, we are going to tackle a tough question. Can I replace JR and no one notice?
Of course they would notice, Nex. Come on now.
Drats.
Anyway, hello and welcome back to AI Innovations Unleashed. I'm your host, JR, and today we're diving into a topic that's as fascinating as it is critical, the ethics of AI. This is episode number 5 in our AI for Beginners series, so if you're just joining us, I would recommend checking out the earlier episodes for a solid foundation on what AI is and how it's shaping our world. Now, I know what you're thinking. Ethics. Wow, that sounds heavy. But don't worry, we'll keep it light, engaging, and dare I say, fun. We'll explore the tough questions while sprinkling in some humor, because what's life without a few laughs? Dr. Evelyn Hart, a philosopher and ethicist who specializes in EI ethics, is going to join me today to untangle this web of moral dilemmas. Welcome to the show, Dr. Hart.
Thank you, JR. It's great to be here. AI ethics is such an important topic, and I'm thrilled to discuss it with your audience. And I'll do my best to keep it lively. No one wants a philosophy snooze fest.
We're glad to have you, Dr. Hart. Let's start with a big one, bias in AI. It feels like every week there's a new story about an algorithm behaving unfairly. Could you help us unpack why AI systems can become biased?
Of course, AI systems are trained on data, lots of it. If the data reflects existing societal biases, the AI can learn and perpetuate those biases. For instance, a 2018 study by MIT researcher Buolamwini revealed that facial recognition systems had higher error rates when identifying darker-skinned individuals, especially women. This is because the training datasets were disproportionately composed of lighter-skinned faces.
That's a pretty shocking example, but also one that makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Does this mean AI is inherently doomed to be biased, or is there something we can do to try and fix this?
Great question. On one hand, some argue that AI amplifies societal biases because it learns from flawed human data. On the other hand, others see AI as an opportunity to identify and correct those biases. For example, algorithms can analyze hiring practices and highlight discriminatory patterns that humans might overlook. However, we need diverse and representative training datasets and thorough algorithmic auditing to achieve this. Think of it like baking a cake. If your ingredients are off, the whole cake will be a flop.
Well, that makes sense. It's like the AI is the sous chef, and we're responsible for providing the right recipe. Now, looking ahead, do you think advances in AI will make bias less of an issue?
I think we're heading in a promising direction. Research into fairness and ethics in AI has grown tremendously over the past few years, but it's important to remember that technology reflects the priorities of its creators. If fairness becomes a central priority, backed by proper funding, regulation, and public demand, we could see a future where AI actively works to reduce human biases. However, if we aren't vigilant, biases may evolve with technology rather than disappear. The future will depend on our collective efforts.
Well, okay. Let's pivot to privacy concerns, which often dominates discussions about AI. What's at stake when it comes to our personal data?
Privacy concerns are multifaceted and at the heart of many debates. AI can analyze personal data to an unprecedented degree, raising questions about consent and misuse. Take the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Data harvested from Facebook was used to influence political outcomes. On a broader scale, surveillance AI like facial recognition in public spaces has been criticized for eroding privacy. But it's not all bad news. AI's ability to analyze data can bring substantial societal benefits. For instance, during the COVID-19 pandemic, AI helped track the spread of the virus using data from mobile devices. The challenge lies in finding a balance between public good and individual rights. It's a bit like borrowing your neighbor's Wi-Fi. It's convenient, but you'd better have permission.
That's a great analogy. Okay, now, turning to long term, how do you see the balance of privacy and AI evolving?
It's a tough one. As AI gets more sophisticated, the temptation to collect and analyze more data will grow. I expect stricter regulations, like Europe's GDPR, will become the norm globally. There may also be a push for more transparent AI systems, where users have greater control over their data. However, this will require cooperation between governments, tech companies, and civil society. The optimistic view is a future where privacy and AI innovation coexist harmoniously. The pessimistic view, Well, let's just say it'll keep ethicists like me busy.
I bet. Okay, let's tackle a particularly thorny issue, autonomous weapons. What's the current debate around the use of these systems?
Autonomous weapons, or laws, and no, I don't mean the legal kind. These are AI systems capable of selecting and engaging targets without human intervention. Proponents argue they could reduce human casualties in war by making precise decisions. It's like having a super soldier that doesn't need sleep or food. But there's a darker side. Critics worry about misidentifications, hacking risks, and moral implications. Should a machine have the power to decide who lives and who dies? In 2022, the United Nations discussed banning such weapons, but not all countries agreed. It's a classic arms race scenario, except this time it's about silicon instead of steel.
It sounds like science fiction to me, but it's still all very real. Looking to the future, how might these debates unfold?
The future of autonomous weapons is closely tied to global politics. I foresee increasing international pressure to regulate or ban these systems, but enforcement will be challenging. On the positive side, as public awareness grows, we might see a groundswell of activism pushing for ethical military AI. On the flip side, if left unchecked, we could enter a dangerous era where machines play too significant a role in conflicts. It's up to humanity to set the limits before the technology defines them for us.
Exactly. Okay, well, let's talk accountability. If an AI system messes up, like in the case of a self-driving car accident, who should be held responsible?
Accountability is one of the toughest nuts to crack. Some say developers and companies should take responsibility as they create and profit from the systems. Others argue that the users who deploy AI should be held accountable. And then there's the wildcard idea of assigning AI personhood, as if we could sue a robot. Take the Uber self-driving car incident in 2018, where a pedestrian was tragically killed. The human backup driver was charged with negligence, but debates about the company's responsibility continue. Looking ahead, I think we'll see new legal frameworks that distribute responsibility among all stakeholders. The key is to make accountability proactive, not reactive, anticipating risks before they become tragedies.
It seems like it's going to take a team effort to go forward. Well, technologists, policymakers, and ethicists all have come together to tackle these issues. Any parting thoughts that you would like to leave for our listeners?
You're absolutely right, JR. Ethical AI isn't just a technical problem, it's a societal one. Transparency, inclusivity, and public education are all crucial. And don't forget to stay curious. These conversations affect us all. The future of AI is still being written, and we all have a role to play.
Speaking of staying curious, do you have any resources for our listeners who want to dive deeper into the debate around AI ethics?
Certainly. I recommend Weapons of Math Destruction by Cathy O'Neil, which dives into algorithmic bias. For a broader perspective, The Ethics of Artificial Intelligence by Nick Bostrom is excellent. And don't forget to check out reports from the AI Now Institute. Also, you're already in the right place by tuning into this podcast. Good job, listeners.
Thank you, Dr. Hart, for this enlightening and entertaining conversation. Navigating the ethics of AI might be challenging, but it's also essential, and maybe even a little bit of fun.
Thank you, JR. It's been a pleasure.
And a big thank you to all of our listeners out there tuning into AI Innovations Unleashed. Don't forget to subscribe, tell a friend, pass it along, and join us next time as we explore the future of AI in healthcare. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and remember, ethics doesn't have to be boring.